No, I'm not. No, I can't be inconsistent. I can't be dishonest and a hypocrite. I've said from the outset that I didn't like the fight. I felt it was a fight built upon other people's legacies. I understand what it's turned into. I understand the furore and the interest, and I understand the point that Eddie Hearn's making. If you ask Frank Warren what he thinks of it, he doesn't think much of it. People might say that's because he's not involved in it. But I would like to see Conor Benn fighting at 147 and winning a world title in that weight class. And I'd like Eubank, who I think is a brilliant showman and a great raconteur, fighting for a world title at 160 or 168. Not this situation, but each to their own. I don't know. Where are you on it?
Well, where are you on it?
Well, it's going to be a massive...
Simon Jordan calls out the so-called super fight, tearing it apart as nothing more than a shallow money grab, exploiting the legacies of two famous names. He doesn't mince words, insisting that this fight has nothing to do with skill or merit. It's all about profiting from hype. From the very start, he's been adamant. This isn't real boxing, it's legacy theft. Conor Benn, he argues, shouldn't be making headlines in catchweight fights. He should be focused on a legitimate path at 147, aiming for a world title like a true contender. As for Chris Eubank Jr., he's a showman no doubt, but his place is at 160 or 168, not getting dragged into sideshow scraps for pay-per-view clicks. This isn't about the pursuit of glory. It's about exploiting nostalgia for a quick buck. Even Frank Warren, no stranger to promotion tactics, sees through the spectacle. While fans are sold to fantasy, the sport itself gets dragged through the mud. The truth is harsh. While the event might be huge, it's built on nothing but flash and illusion. So the question remains, do we really want boxing to be like this, or is it time to demand something real?
Fight and win a world title at 147. I would like to see, Conor Benn. I would like to see Eubank stay at, I think 160 is hurting him now. I would like to see him fight at 168. But the appeal of this fight is massive.
Oh,
it's something that, I mean, it's even got my attention. Like, and I see myself as a boxing purist, but
On the flip side, Carl Frampton dives headfirst into the chaos, admitting that, on paper, this fight shouldn't make sense. But somehow it does. He agrees that Conor Benn's true path lies at 147, chasing a legitimate world title. As for Chris Eubank Jr., Frampton believes the damage at 160 is undeniable, suggesting that he's pushing his body beyond its limits in a weight class that no longer suits him. The smart move would be to move up to 168 and fight like the powerhouse he is. But here's the contradiction. Even though Frampton knows all this, he still can't look away from the circus. The hype has him hooked, and he's not even trying to fight it. As a boxing purist, he understands that this fight goes against everything traditional matchmaking stands for. Yet, the madness, the raw animosity, and the family legacies at stake make it an unavoidable spectacle. Like a car crash, you can't help but watch. It's wrong on paper, but electrifying in practice, the kind of fight that defies the rules and still sells out arenas. The real tragedy. It's exactly the chaos that fans are craving, and that speaks volumes. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and like the video.
But I think with Chris, this is purely business. This is purely business. I don't think he quite likes him very much, but I'm telling you now, it's a good thing that Conor's in Spain. Because imagine them two bumping into each other on London High Street on a Sunday afternoon.
You don't need that, do you?
No one needs that, no one wants it, but it's inevitable. So you literally have to navigate your way through these camps and keep these two boys away from each other, because
keep the lid on.
I've been there with this kind of animosity, and I've been there with this kind of domestic rivalry. It eats away at you. It's not nice. No. It literally eats away at you. It's on your mind daily, and you just, it gets to it's an intense.
Tommy Bellew doesn't hold back when tearing into the brutal reality of the Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn showdown. He's not sugarcoating anything. According to Bellew, this isn't just another boxing grudge match, it's a ticking time bomb. The bitterness between these two has been simmering for years, and now it's boiling over into a full-blown street fight disguised as a sporting event. Bellew doesn't view this as a clash of styles or tactics. He sees it as two men consumed by rage, eager to settle personal scores through violence. Having been in the trenches himself, he knows how quickly anger can cloud judgment, turning well-laid plans into total chaos. And that's exactly what concerns him. If Eubank and Benn cross paths outside the ring, Bellew fears it could escalate into something completely unhinged. The real danger is that the ring might not be able to contain the explosive emotions at play. This fight is emotional warfare, not sport. The only question left is, can they keep it together long enough to step into the ring, or will the fury explode before the bell even rings?
See Conor Benn knocking out Chris Eubank Jr. That's what I see. And don't ask me why. Because really and truly, when things are foregone conclusions, they're never foregone. Until they really are foregone. So,
And there's a lot of people with their opinions on the weight clause, right? The rehydration
I'm not worried
clause.
about the rehydration
You're not
clause or
bothered
anything
about
else. I just know at the time of when Chris Eubank was born, the rivalry with him and with his dad and Nigel Benn wasn't deeply insipid in his father's genes. At the time of Nigel Benn's wife conceiving Conor, the hatred was deep rooted in Nigel Benn. It's been passed on to the son. And people think, well, that doesn't win fights and the size and this and that. I'm telling you that there's a different kind of spite for somebody willing to go the extra mile because of that hatred. Otherwise, Chris Eubank Jr. will soundly outpoint. But I just I could see something crazy like that happen.
On the other hand, Spencer Fearon doesn't hesitate to make his bold prediction. He sees Conor Benn knocking Chris Eubank Jr. out cold and makes it clear this fight isn't about tactics, weight clauses, or rehydration drama. To him, this fight is cursed with history, raw, inherited hatred that runs deeper than anyone is willing to admit. Spencer views it as more than just a fight. He calls it destiny. He believes the rivalry between their fathers, Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr., didn't just end in the 90s. It's been passed down, almost like a disease, burned into Conor's DNA. That kind of venom changes the way a man fights. It's not about skill or size. It's about spite, obsession, and the need to finish what your bloodline started. Fearon acknowledges that Eubank Jr. is slick and dangerous, but something in his gut tells him this could end in chaos, an unexpected knockout fueled by generations of bad blood. And honestly, who could rule that out when hatred is driving every punch?
Proof in the pudding that says Conor Benn punches harder than me at 154. He's had 2 fights at 154 and has not enough down, never mind anything else. So, yeah, if Conor wants to portray that and draw confidence from that and try and plant the seed in Chris's head, then so be it. But like I said, I'll stand on what I say. I've always been a better fighter than Conor Benn. I'm a better fighter than Conor Benn now.
Meanwhile, Liam Smith delivers a brutal reality check, tearing into Conor Benn without mercy and completely dismantling any claims that Benn hits harder. To Smith, it's all talk and no substance. He mocks the hype, dismissing the idea that Benn's power means anything, especially when he's only had 2 fights at a higher weight, and both were essentially glorified sparring sessions. On the other hand, Smith has gone toe-to-toe with true killers, survived brutal wars, and earned his stripes the hard way. But here's where things get explosive. Smith believes Benn is faking it. He sees Benn as faking the confidence, the swagger, and desperately trying to sell an image of himself that hasn't been tested against real lions. Smith isn't just throwing shade, he's challenging the entire narrative. He views Benn as an overrated showman who's in way over his head. The burning question now is, when the first punch lands, will Benn crumble under pressure, or will he prove everyone wrong? The moment of truth is approaching, and Smith is betting on a brutal exposure.
Felt sorry for Junior because he is a 34-year-old man at the time. He wants his own thing. His father is always going to be the centre of attention.
Yeah.
I think he's right to make his own decisions.
Simon, I see exactly what you're saying because Nigel has stood back from his career and Chris Senior was right in the front at the beginning. I think it's great that Junior is walking his own path.
So do I.
However, they have had horrendous tragedy.
No one saw this coming. Steve Collins just tore open the darkest chapter of Chris Eubank Jr.'s career, exposing the chaos that's been holding him back for years. This isn't just about boxing. It's about identity, legacy, and a toxic family dynamic that's been simmering beneath the surface. While Nigel Benn stepped aside to let his son shine, Eubank Sr. has remained a shadow, turning every moment of Junior's rise into a bizarre circus. Collins didn't just call it out. He blasted the truth wide open. Behind the bravado, Junior has been suffocating, caught in a war between proving himself and living up to his father's manufactured persona. Collins didn't hold back, even touching on the painful losses and personal trauma that have rocked the Eubank family, suggesting it's more than just bad PR. It's deep emotional damage. The burning question now is, can Junior finally tear off the mask and become his own man? Or will he remain a puppet in his father's strange theater?
I think Chris is leaps and bounds ahead of Conor. His experience, the guys he's been in with, take away the weight, because Chris is obviously going to be disadvantaged in there with the weight as well. But just ability, boxing skill set is on a completely different level.
On the flip side, Harlem Eubank isn't holding back. He's absolutely convinced that Chris Eubank Jr. is light years ahead of Conor Benn, and it goes far beyond size or power. While the media and fans focus on the weight difference, Harlem knows the true divide between the two lies in their boxing intelligence, experience, and ability to adapt in the ring. Chris has faced some of the toughest opponents in the sport, testing his skills under the brightest lights. Benn, on the other hand, hasn't yet fought at that level. His knockout power is undeniable, but Harlem believes power alone won't be enough against a seasoned, strategic fighter like Chris. Harlem admits that Chris will lose some size due to the weight cut, but he's firm in his belief that Chris's vast experience and superior boxing IQ will be the deciding factor. It's not about brute strength. It's about who can think on their feet, adjust to pressure, and control the fight. Harlem is confident that Benn's lack of experience against elite competition will cost him dearly when he faces Chris, who has all the tools to outsmart him in every round.
Eubank Jr., he's stylish and he's skillful. And if that Liam Smith defeat, which worries me a bit for Chris, if that's sort of part of the past, that the rematch was emphatic for Eubank Jr., but it wasn't Liam's night really, and he had an injury going into it. So that defeat that Eubank suffered worries me a bit, but he's fought in better company, and Conor Benn's got it all to prove. But if there's one guy that wants it more, it's Conor Benn. There's no doubt about that.
On the other side, Adam Smith has just shaken up the boxing world with his brutally honest assessment of Chris Eubank Jr. and the uncertain road that lies ahead for him. No one can deny Eubank Jr.'s immense talent. His skill, charisma, and flair are undeniable, and he's more than capable of dominating anyone in the ring. But Smith didn't hold back, drawing attention to the glaring blemish on Eubank Jr.'s record: the crushing loss to Liam Smith. That defeat continues to loom over his career, raising lingering questions about his mental and physical resilience. While the rematch was seen as a chance for redemption, Smith pointed out that it wasn't entirely fair, given that Smith was fighting with an injury. Despite Eubank Jr.'s solid resume, that loss still haunts him, exposing vulnerabilities that are hard to ignore. When Smith shifts his focus to Conor Benn, he doesn't mince words. Benn has the hunger, the ambition, and the fire to prove he's got what it takes. The real question now is, can Eubank Jr. recover from his past defeat? Or will Benn seize the moment and show he's the true superior fighter in this rivalry?
Maybe that's what Eubank Jr. is thinking, that Conor Benn is going to come out and leave everything in those first 3 or 4 rounds. And if Chris is still there, it could be trouble for Conor. But Conor could knock him out. Barry could be